Every October, your appetite changes, and you have no idea why. But now you're going to find out. You feel like eating more. You feel like sleeping more. You experience a deep, overwhelming fatigue that even coffee can't shake. And like most people, you call it laziness. You might even be blaming yourself for it. I'm sure you tell yourself, this year I'll pay much more attention to myself and be more disciplined. Here's what no one can explain. This isn't weakness, nor is it a character flaw. It's a 200,000-year-old program, a remnant of a way of life that's functioning exactly as it was designed to, in a body that's unaware that the world around it has changed, even if you're not aware of it. Right now, your body is still preparing for a famine that disappeared thousands of years ago. Subscribe now so you don't miss out on these mysterious programs in your body. I'll keep explaining them. Let's take a step back and consider what fall actually meant for nearly the entire history of humanity. Fall was never the season for sweaters and pumpkin spice drinks. It was a warning. Plants would stop producing food, animals would begin to disappear, suddenly either migrating or going into hibernation, and for the next 4 to 6 months, food would become scarce, unpredictable, and sometimes so hard to find that it was practically impossible. Your ancestors didn't experience winter as a mere inconvenience. Every year, they lived through winter as the single greatest threat to their survival, and the body you've been living in up until now was entirely shaped by that threat. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer communities, including groups in Tanzania and South Africa, have documented a phenomenon known as seasonal calorie fluctuation. Food intake and fat storage increase very clearly in the months leading up to the lean season, and this then gradually declines throughout the season. This is not a modern dietary trend. It is a pattern etched into human biology dating back to the Pleistocene era, long before anyone had a calendar or even the word fall. This is precisely where things become even clearer. Researchers studying leptin, the hormone that regulates hunger and fat storage, have discovered that leptin sensitivity itself varies seasonally in humans. To put it simply, your brain's hunger signals aren't active all year round. During months with less daylight, this signal intensifies, and scientists studying seasonal emotional patterns have linked the decrease in daylight directly to cravings for carbohydrates and increased appetite. In other words, when less light reaches your eyes, your brain says the season of scarcity has arrived and sends a single command: eat more than you need, store more than you need, move less than necessary. Actually, this cycle seems simple at first glance, but it's not quite that straightforward. I want you to think about what this meant for our ancestors. A body that efficiently stored fat before winter and slowed its metabolism during the cold months was not lazy. That's how a body that survived operated. Those who consumed fewer calories spent the entire year underweight and burned calories at a steady rate unfortunately didn't make it past February. Natural selection didn't reward restraint, it punished it. What it rewarded was the exact opposite. It rewarded desire. It is precisely because of this very point that researchers describe humans' relationship with the cold months as akin to a vestigial hibernation. Response: it's not called full hibernation, that never developed. But its shadow is reduced activity, increased appetite, and a slowing internal engine. Bears store fat and fall into a deep sleep throughout the winter. We wish we could do the same, but humans have never gone into full hibernation. Yet the mechanism that triggers it, the mechanism for storing energy in anticipation of scarcity, lies dormant within you, quietly awaiting a winter that ceased to threaten you long ago. Because this is exactly the part that should make you think. That kind of threat no longer exists, and your body isn't aware of it. Not only your body, you aren't even aware of it yourself. But you will be as you watch the rest of the video. Go to any grocery store in October. The shelves are always full. Food from 6 different continents. You can even get there at 10 in the morning if you want. In the history of humanity, there has never been a time when famine was less likely for you, the person reading this right now, than it is now, right? Yet, the primitive part of your brain still perceives the shortening days and dropping temperatures as a near 5-alarm warning. It's sending the same signals it always has. Eat more. Prepare. Stock up as much as you can. You feel this signal as a craving for bread, something warm, something nourishing. You call this willpower. Your ancestors, however, called it survival. There's something strange about this mismatch. Your Body is the product of extraordinary biological engineering, refined over hundreds of thousands of years, engineering designed to help you breathe in conditions that would otherwise kill you. And that same engineering is now beginning to send warnings about a threat that no longer exists for most people. Watching this video, to give an example, think of a smoke detector going off in a house where there's no fire. The alarm is still working. It's just reacting to a world that no longer matches its programming. If this smoke detector analogy has shed some light on things for you, don't forget to like the video. That way, we can reach more people. Don't limit this phenomenon to just appetite. Sleep researchers have discovered that many people need longer and deeper sleep during the darker months, regardless of how busy or tired they actually are. Some studies on circadian rhythms show that as daylight decreases, melatonin production increases measurably, which almost perfectly aligns with that heavier, slower feeling many people describe when October rolls around. Your ancestors preferred much longer, darker nights to conserve energy they couldn't afford to burn during times when food was scarce. You, on the other hand, use it as an excuse to feel guilty about going to bed at 9 o'clock. I want you to imagine what the famine season would actually be like for a body with no backup plan. This isn't a strict diet or a tough week. It's a period lasting months where the last bit of fat stored in your body is the only thing keeping you from starvation. Anthropologists studying the skeletal remains of communities that survived harsh, food-scarce winters made a significant discovery. During this cyclical season of scarcity, the survivors were not those with fast metabolisms, but rather those who had stored the most body fat and in abundance before the cold set in. Back then, this wasn't a flaw, it was a strategy. If you stop and think about it for a moment, that heaviness you feel every fall isn't a personal flaw, nor is it proof that there's something specifically wrong with you. It's proof that you come from a long, unbroken human lineage that has weathered this very feeling time and time again over the past 200,000 years. Almost all of your ancestors felt that pull toward eating more and resting more as the days grew shorter, and each of them lived long enough to pass that response on to you. You are, quite literally, made up of only the survivors of ancestors who endured 10,000 winters. When the light began to fade earlier, each of them felt the very same pull you're feeling right now. Each of them reached for more food, moved a little more slowly, and wanted to stay by the fire longer than the others. From generation to generation, until it ceased to be a choice and became something close to an instinct. You'd do well to remember this the next time you find yourself standing in front of the fridge at 9:15 at night, scolding yourself for wanting something warm and hearty to eat. You're not broken. You're not undisciplined. You're running a program that kept your ancestors' unbroken chain alive through cold seasons for 200,000 years, and this program isn't aware that the chain has finally reached a version of you that will never need this again in the same way. So, has this question ever crossed your mind? If your body is still preparing for a famine that will never come, what exactly are you preparing for right now without even realizing it? The next time you feel that inexplicable pull toward comforting foods and early bedtimes in October, pause for a second before criticizing yourself and figure out what you're actually reacting to. It's not the supermarket in front of you, brimming with everything, brightly lit and oblivious to the season. It's something older than that, something that has been quietly continuing beneath the surface even before your species developed language, before the emergence of agriculture, and even before fire was fully domesticated. This fall, your appetite isn't really about food. It's a message passed down to you from every ancestor who barely made it through the winter. They're still trying, with the only language they have left, to ensure your survival for a winter that won't come. If you want to explore other mysteries of the human brain, in my previous video, I talked about what ancient people did when they were bored. Maybe you'll find some inspiration from them when you're bored, too.